now, all right, so this will be session number 28. Let me go over some notes really quick from last session. Notes. Okay, so in the last session, big thing in the last session, Chimera shared a lot of information regarding her meeting with her father. If she wants to, if she wouldn't mind, if she could catch Domo or catch JR up on some of the details of that, that would be fantastic. There were too many details to
Yeah.
put into into these notes. They're very varied, and obviously, whatever is most important to you is going to be important to the rest of the group. And the
Yeah.
following day, the party began their journey south towards the Cloakwood. On the way, they passed the army of Umberlee and witnessed the Dreadhigh Trident summoning a Hydra, which she then mounted. A group of them are now heading south along the same road as the party is towards the Cloakwood. However, considering the size of the army, they will take twice the amount of time to travel. So the party has an advantage in time. On the road, the party encountered the knight Marshawn, which JR, that's the knight that you guys met on Gunderlin, who wanted you to bring or hold on to Uthak so that she could reform him. She was very upset that you failed your mission, and she swore vengeance on the party. But at that moment, she decided to leave.
It's super annoying.
On the following day, the party arrived at the outskirts of the Cloakwood, where they encountered a treant that Matthew named Trent. It had strange markings on it. It shouted curses at the party and seemed to be aligned with the Nature's Chosen. After fighting off the treants, the party continued forward towards the hidden village of the Conclave. Once there, Sif was commanded to come and speak privately with the Elder Circle. I have had a one-on-one session with Devin. We got through all of that, so I'll leave it up to Devin to describe any events or things that happened inside of it. We'll get to that in a moment. Right now, Bianca, would you mind catching JR up on what happened in the last session?
Yeah, for sure. Like the entire session, or just like the deets of like what I revealed?
The deets of what you were revealing would be fantastic.
Yeah. So I guess out of character, I went and I revealed that Chimera is actually a worshiper of the Trackless King. So King Tentrix, or like the that like we've been hunting this whole time. She also revealed that her father is also a worshiper. Um and that basically like Chimera feels, I think the session prior you mentioned, or like you had a conversation with a follower of Umberlee, the Dreadhigh Trident, and she mentioned that like the Trackless King seems like he's changed, and Chimera basically like confirms that and says that, I don't know, if I revealed this specifically last session, but she did reveal that um the king like reached out to her, kind of like how your patron reaches out to you, or like you reach out to your patron. My patron can reach out to me instead. And when I was talking with my patron, uh, they said something along the lines of the great mind has taken over. So alluding to that, you know, Chimera speculates strongly that because of her connection with the Trackless King, he's very likely like controlled by like a mind flayer or whatever's controlling all the mind flayers, which we know right now is the Great Mind. Um, and she and her goal right now is to dethrone the Trackless King, to save the Sword Coast. That's kind of like her champion like story arc. And she, during the dinner with her father, um she actually like tried to speak with her father the same way you spoke to the Dreadhigh Trident, and her father like basically like is very ignorant to the idea that like somebody could be controlling him.
Hmm.
And basically like alluded to like not what's it called when you're like treason. Like he basically like threatened like calling treason on Chimera, like was very like angry that she even said that. Um and is basically and also had Chimera also confirmed the whereabouts of Zathir's father, and that her father has Zathir's father captive.
Dang.
So basically like Chimera is aligned with overthrowing the Trackless King, um, and also saving Zathir's dad. Um, to add to that, she also got everyone like documentation to go into Candlekeep, like giant library. And she also uh negotiated with the detective and is now like granted permission to help investigate and go inside Ramesses Tower when we get back from the Cloakwood.
Nice. Is there any suspicion of your father being controlled at all too, or like he seemed on the up and up, just a little oblivious to what was going on?
That's actually a really good point. That's something that I did not think about checking at the point in time that I was having the dinner. So I don't know if he's controlled, but something that I did learn as well is that my father is like really, really strong. And whatever spell is like controlling Zathir's dad, like has a really huge radius. Um, and also my father has the ability to read minds.
Oh shit.
And yeah, like it's really bad. Like it's really
I think if I could add, I think you mentioned that he is also trying to get into the Council of Four.
yes,
And
a
he's
lot
trying
of
to blame
information.
one of the
One of the
council
council members.
that the reason that the Baldur's Gate security was lacking was due to that council member to get him ousted so he could take his position.
Yeah, so he's not only really, really strong, but he's also huge influence on Baldur's Gate.
I like how didn't the Council of Four come up like as an aside? It was like, John, you were like, I gotta look up these dumb names of this question you're asking or something.
Now it's important. Yeah.
Sweet.
I think one of the thing that you said, Bianca, I thought was a pretty interesting touch. Was like not only is Zathir's father there, you've known him your whole life, or not your whole life, but a very long time, and never realized because he's in disguise or something.
Yeah, so like my dad casts a spell that makes him look like an elf, and he also has him like under some sort of like mind control. Because I tried talking to him. So like he's like posed as like my family servant, like a maid.
So he's just been there for a long time.
There.
Yeah, so I physically saw him, and before my father revealed, like, oh yeah, this is Zathir's dad, haha, you know, like Chimera actually tried talking to him, like both verbally, and then John mentioned his tongue was cut off, so Chimera tried telepathically, and he didn't respond or acknowledge Chimera either. So he's just like on autopilot right now.
Dang.
But like he meanders around the entire estate and is still maintained in that state even when my father's not in the same room. So like whatever's going on with him has a really long range. So like something I spoke with Zathir about was like if we try to save his dad, we don't know how to break the like if there's a range on the spell, like if we leave the mansion will he be fine, or do we need to leave like all of Baldur's Gate before he returns to normal?
And was there any indication as to why your dad did this?
Yes, because the Trackless King ordered him to do it.
Hmm.
Because apparently Zithir's dad tried to overthrow the king in the past.
Mm,
So that was like his punishment. So
dang. It's fucked up. Your dad's fucked up.
he is. And I'm probably gonna kill him at some point. Like, it's really bad. It's bad.
All right.
Oh, and I also revealed that I'm looking for a weapon that could kill the Trackless King. So
Right.
like we're both like looking for weapons
Yeah.
to go and overthrow him.
All
Sweet.
right. So with that all being said, um, let's figure out what Domo was up to. Because JR, you and I communicated just a little bit. I didn't hear you too much because I knew you weren't feeling well. I wanted you to get plenty of rest. I read through the messages that you sent me. Do you want to elaborate on what your character has been doing for the past 3 days? I guess the first big thing is, would you have traveled with the party, or would you have traveled with somebody else?
I think I'm trying to at this point get back in the good graces of the Dread High Trident, so I'm traveling with them for now. I'm not completely sold on either her or the Order at this point. I'm still very much listening pretty much directly to what I'm hearing from Umberly, but I'm pretty much just trying to play both sides right now, and
Gotcha.
I'm sure that will get me in trouble at some point. But for now, I'm more so on the side of the High Trident.
Gotcha. Okay. And then finally, let's move over to Sif. You want to? I guess we can cut right now to current time. Let me start a ready check first. Waiting on Bianca. Get started.
If Domo was going to go separately from us, could we say we gave him the sending stone? One of the sending stones?
Sure. Who has the other one then?
I
I
still have it.
do.
Oh,
I
yeah,
could say
Bianca.
I gave it to him after speaking with the gang.
So Sif and Domo have the sending stones. All right. And so, the group of you, Zithir, Kai, and Chimera, you're waiting for a little while. It's about an hour. You're not quite sure what's going on. Let me set the set up where you guys are currently, because it's been a little while. You are in the Cloakwood, currently in the sort of center of the primary village or city that is dominated and controlled by the Enclave. It is this treetop village, very common for wood elves in this region, literally built into the tops of the giant trees that make up the Cloakwood. The architecture is immaculate and beautiful, but there is like a dreariness, a dreary atmosphere that sort of permeates everything in this town. You don't see children. You see pretty much everybody has been geared up for war and action. They all have equipment on. Stores have been closed. Houses have been boarded up. And this place seems like it's under some kind of martial law. Your group was permitted to head towards the absolute center of the Enclave, and there Sif was summoned to speak to the Council of Elders. Sif agreed to go. They had to go by themselves, and they have been gone for about an hour now. The group has been told basically to sort of stay where you are and not to move away from this central platform. There are several of these Enclave warriors keeping a very careful eye on you, and especially Chimera, who they look at with a sort of a very high level of distrust. They don't say a word to you. They don't really acknowledge you, and they demand that you stay exactly where you are. Thankfully, it is comfortable here. It is quiet. So your group has stayed where you are for the last hour. And the doors to the building that Sith walked through open, and Sith steps out. The first thing that you might notice that's a little bit different about him is that he's wearing this green leather covered embossed full plate armor, and he has a bundle tucked under one hand that looks like some kind of beautiful dull green fabric. And he also has a pin or a pendant that symbolizes some kind of status, although none of you are really keen as to what that might mean specifically. Sith walks towards your group, and the Enclave sort of relaxes a little bit, knowing that Sith is now in charge of the situation, and those of lesser rank turn to him, and they give a stern salute of their fists to their chest.
Sif will turn and do the whatever the equivalent is in the army when like people salute and someone of higher rank like kind of like waves at them like respectfully, like, but doesn't do the salute back. I think that's how it works, but that's the same type of thing. So he will acknowledge the respect he's being given and return it.
They acknowledge you before dispersing.
Well, that went better than I thought it would. Well, I got promoted. And Sif will show the pin he got given. If I can find it.
Very cool.
I got promoted to my previous mentor's position. I am now a Winter Stalker. There was quite a bit they had to say. Start with the. We'll go somewhere else to talk, so we're not like around everybody. But Sif will kind of give an explanation of what happened and start with this.
Sure. In the meantime, they say if you wish to spend the night here, there is a small house that they can put you up in.
Sure. Okay, so I spoke to Lady Cindermoon. She's an avatar of Sylvanas. She's probably the most powerful person I've ever known. I'm glad I went in there and told the truth, because I think if I said anything that was false, she would have absolutely known immediately. The Enclave is very worried about both the Chosen and the Church. They think the Chosen is working with the Cult of the Kraken, and that the Cult of the Kraken wants to replace the upper tiers of the Enclave with people who are loyal to them. They also believe that the Mind Flayers are not a coincidence, that it was just a crashed ship, that they came here for a purpose. It's part of something larger, but I'm not quite sure what it is. I don't know if you guys remember, but I found a shield, or we found a shield in the shipwreck, and I've been carrying it around this whole time. It's the shield with the eye in it. When I took it out and showed it to Lady Cindermoon, I've never known her to be anxious about anything or startled, and she immediately told me to put it away. And I gave it to her for her to destroy, but she seemed pretty apprehensive about whatever thing was staring at her through the other side. So I don't believe the Enclave is working together with the Mind Flayers, but if they are, whatever is controlling the Mind Flayers, he's afraid of it. They've promoted me, they've given me a new mission, and it's luckily what I wanted to do anyway. They want me to kill my former, well, this is not what I wanted to do, but I do want to find my former teacher, and they want me to find him and kill him, and bring an end to the Chosen. But currently I wouldn't want to go see the Chosen and talk to my former mentor and figure out what is actually going on, because I'm getting different information from different sides. But that's about everything that happened. I never heard anything about the Nature's Chosen working with the Cult of the Kraken. But if they're both against the Enclave and the church is working with them too, I'm not sure what to think. Did your father mention anything about the Nature's Chosen Chimera?
No, not when I spoke with him. But it seems as though when I asked about what potentially might happen with between the Church of Umberlee and the Cloakwood Forest, he went and he favored the Cloakwood. So whatever information you found seems to make a lot of sense for me.
You said he favored the Cloakwood? Like he took their side against the church?
Yeah, he did. I'm not sure why, but he also told me not to meddle with whatever's going on down here.
I'm honestly not sure what to make of it. But we need to find out what we need to do next, or what we want to do next. Because they've given me leave. They didn't even ask me to come here and defend the forest. They sent me away. So I think we have some leverage to do what we want to do next. I'd like to get back in touch with Domo. I don't like being split up. What does everybody else want to do?
Are we assuming that we contacted Domo to come down here at this point, or like with
From
our
what-
sending stone?
I think from what JR just said, he's just with the order. I don't think we've told him anything, or told him anything yet, or told her anything yet.
Yeah,
But
I
like,
think.
he would be on his way, right?
Yeah, you guys would know that I'm on my way, essentially.
But you're on your way with a war party.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice if you could find some way to like maybe find a way to meet up. And
And you
I
do
don't want to
know
get
that
involved with this fight.
the symbology that you wear might would definitely put people off in the Enclave, and they would know that you're a member of this order. So unless you're disguised in some way, it would be difficult for you to get by without some kind of hostility.
Like I couldn't just take my shit off.
I mean, yeah, you could take off
I
your
could tell
equipment
some.
for sure.
I could also tell the guards to be on the lookout for like someone who looks like you and describe you. I don't want to be in. So the Enclave feels to me like they've kind of they feel not comfortable with where the situation is, but they weren't like, hey, so if you need to stick here and help out. They think it seems to me like the more pressing issue is the Chosen in general, and not necessarily this attack. So if they just want to fight each other, it might be for the best if we can get out of the way.
Also, I'm sorry. Can I get a quick refresh after my mind melted from being sick? Didn't the church, the High Trident is worried about the cult as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So
the church and the church and the Enclave are both worried about the cult.
right.
It's universal, right? The cult of the Kraken is bad news.
Yeah.
One more piece of information: the Lady Cindermoon did say specifically that the Enclave has been a thorn in the Order's side. So it's possible that this is just a cult of the Kraken on both sides, like goading them to fight or something like that.
But there was no indication. But so the Enclave though thinks that the church is in league with the cult.
From my notes, I might have. It's hard to take notes when you're just doing a one-on-one session, but from what my notes say, they only said that the Nature's Chosen is working with the Cult of the Kraken, and they just said something about like the Enclave has always been, the Order has always been annoyed by the Enclave, so now they're just coming to fight us. But I got that wrong. I might just not have written it down.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. The church is coming. They're just not on good terms with each other, so they're coming to fight. But not the Order. The Order of the Gauntlet is the other thing.
Okay, so I wrote down. I have the Order written down. So I think the Enclave said the Order of the Gauntlet have been a thorn in their side, and that the Nature's Chosen is working with the Cult of the Kraken. It's a lot of names.
A lot of names, a lot of groups going on.
So I don't know specifically what the Emerald Enclave and the Church think about each other. And so it's not the Order that's attacking; it's the Church that's attacking.
Yeah, I guess as I'm traveling with this group, do they look like they're super preparing for actual battle, or is it like a show of force sort of thing?
So you look at the people that were brought with you, and it's a collection of warriors, it's a collection of priestesses, and it does look like they are prepared to engage, but they're also carrying with them a lot of supplies. And so you believe that this might be more of a prolonged situation. Based off of what you understand of the capabilities of the church itself, and it's a relatively small group. I think we said it's like several dozen people, right? So it's a large group,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, you know, even if it was 100 people, that's not enough to lay siege to an entire
Right.
forest, right? So you're perhaps wondering what their goals are. During your walk or your journey, you are right beside the Dreadhigh Trident the majority of the time, and for them it's a 2-day long journey, right? So at the end of the first day, when the entire group sets up camp, you're permitted to speak with the Dreadhigh Trident and even have dinner and evening prayer with her. And during this time, she speaks to you and she informs you a little bit more of what the plans are of the church in this situation. They know they're horribly outnumbered. They know they don't stand a chance of actually defeating the Enclave, but that's not their goal. Their goal is actually to do a sort of diversion, cause the majority of forces from the Enclave to focus on a particular area of the forest so that she can send several people to go and investigate a location that she only refers to as the cave. This cave is known to be a place where the Cult of the Kraken performs these strange rituals, rituals that primarily sacrifices in order to initiate new members and to have private in-person conversations with various members of the group. She believes that this cave is located just outside of the Cloakwood, and that not only do the Cult of the Kraken congregate there, but they also communicate with high-ranking members of the Enclave as well. So she's prepared to sort of sit this out for the long term, and she can summon more warriors when she needs, who can arrive via boat in a few days. But her primary goal is not to basically suicide her entire regiment. It's to perform this diversion, send people out to collect the information that she actually needs, and then based off of the results of that, either summon more forces or depart. She also believes that she wants to perhaps communicate with the Nature's Chosen. She caught word that they are against the Enclave, and she thinks reasonings for their reasonings for both going against the Enclave are aligned. And so she hopes to have an envoy, perhaps you, Domo, go and speak to their highest ranking members and see if you can form some kind of mutual agreement.
And I guess why do you think me befitting of this task? Why do you believe they will accept me to come in and speak with them?
She says, "You have proven yourself to be quite cunning. I would trust you above any other sister in my regiment to do this action. Also, within your party, I believe there is a wood elf, a man named Sif, if I recall correctly. He is the former student of the leader of the Nature's Chosen."
That is true. I do believe that my path will cross with them. I'm just worried as to how they will receive me when I arrive. And I suppose now is as good a time as any that to tell you that I may take action that seemed to be against the church in the moment, but I hope you know I am fully committed to Umberly. When we arrive at the Enclave, do not take anything I do as betrayal, but know I am working towards a goal that I think we can both agree on.
She nods in understanding. And she also offers you, should you need it, clothes and equipment that would allow you to better blend into your surroundings if you so wish.
Sweet.
So back at the small house here, the house that you're permitted to stay in is quite nice. It has all of the furnishings you can imagine. It's probably the first time most of you have slept in a room by yourselves with like a very comfortable bed. Elven servers come in and drop off a platter of food for the entire group of you, as well as several bottles of elven wine. And then you are left alone. Some of you go to listen to the windows to see if perhaps there are people outside, but it's so eerily quiet that you really couldn't tell otherwise. What do the group of you do?
I mean, Sif is just gonna enjoy, just for himself, just being back in the forest like this, and back in the town that hasn't been back to for really hasn't been that long, but it ends up feeling like a long time when you get back. You're like, it's been a while sitting here. So Sif is just kind of like probably quietly for a moment by the window, as much as there is a window and one of these like very open structures, and just kind of like being in the moment and just enjoying being back in the forest for whatever brief period he's allowed to be back here for. And it's kind of like just turning over the Winter Stalker pin he has and just looking at it and thinking about the road that brought him here.
What is Aether thinking about all this? He's been pretty quiet.
Zethier will congratulate Sif on his promotion there. Zethier recalls how Sif had told the group that even though he may seem like he's astray from us, that he does, in fact, is faithful to our group. So Zethier, has an eyebrow up when he does notice that promotion as well. But as of right now, Sif, Zethier wants to know if Zif could tell us some stories from him and his memories at the Enclave.
Stories, huh? Let's see. There's a lot I've done for the Enclave, and not as much I'd like to talk about, but the thing that's on my mind right now, and Sif will continue looking at his Winterstalker pin. I've never really thought too much about my place in this organization and what I could do to change it from the inside. I don't expect you to know, and it's kind of complicated, the structure of the Enclave and what it represents, but suffice it to say, my position in it was never that important. I'm relatively young. I'm from a very small village, and I have not had a chance to really prove anything about myself. But I've just jumped up 2 ranks. I'm on the same level that my mentor was, and I'm suddenly somebody who was getting saluted in the streets of the city. I'd never had that happen before, and I have to admit, I kind of like it. But the thing that's on my mind more than anything is Lady Cindermoon. She's the avatar of Sylvanas. She's a being that speaks for a god. I've never had any relationship with any kind of god. Not really. But I wonder what it's like to be that important. And Sif will look at Zethier. You talked to a god once, right? How does one go about doing that?
Well, takes a lot of alcohol.
Sif will start pouring himself a drink. Anything
I
else, or is that it?
don't believe I ever spoken to a god.
I thought you stole your powers from a god.
It's from a manuscript that I stowed from our temple. I was merely reading the contents of it, learning about this power. And then I obtained it. Unknowingly, in fact. It took me years to realize I had this power. I've conducted so many scientific projects, and just led me to nowhere. You could say I've kind of fallen into this.
Maybe that's what religion is like. It's something you fall into. But I'm looking for something more deliberate. I think I need to talk to Tom. How about you, Chimera? You have a link with a rather powerful entity. How did that happen? Is it something you wanted?
There we go. My audio like cut out. Chimera will go and look gloom and say, "No, honestly, it wasn't something that I wanted. Um, I mean, it's just something that's always been a part of me. Uh, since I was a kid. It was something that was chosen for me by my father.
The fellow made the choice for you. Zathir stumbled into it. Seems like there's a lot of ways to make connections with these things. Hi, you're not religious, are you?
Not terribly, but after my near-death experience, yeah, I feel a little, like I can believe.
Kai, how did you get your powers?
Well, my mom's a powerful storm giant, so that's kind of where I got them from. Kind of came very natural to me, just like, playing with the elements and everything.
Quite the gift indeed.
Sith, does it feel different being back home? Like, it looks like the town's on lockdown, so is that common here, or like this is a really rare occurrence?
Most people in the city, nearly everybody, as part of growing up here, you learn to use weapons. So people are generally armed, but this is an especially quiet. There's usually children, like they've moved them all away. I think everybody here is preparing for what's coming. They don't seem that on edge, but they are prepared. It's very different from it usually is. It's usually rather nice. The Enclave is pretty good at making instruments and playing instruments, though. It's usually a very nice place to be. It's not usually this tense. You should all come back here one time when, this isn't so bad. I'm sure you'll love it. Like I do. Sif will let everybody know that he just got a sending stone message from Domo. Domo says they're on their way. I'm gonna go let the guards know that Domo's coming, and I'll try to describe her, and I'll be there to pick her up. And then Sif will leave to go and coordinate that.
Okay. Domo, you are given directions by your group on how to get there. Some scouts have already infiltrated the area, and you're surprised at how well coordinated everything is from the Church of Umberlee side. Scouts that have already infiltrated the wood meet you at a particular location, and they guide you along a particular path. And then they let you go a bit further, saying that you'll be able to connect with another group as well who can continue guiding you. And from the outskirts of the forest to the Enclave doesn't take too long, but about an hour beforehand, the scouts say, "This is where we leave you be." And quickly and quietly, they sort of they imbibe these potions of invisibility and then disappear into the woods without a trace.
The Enclave is rich.
Or the church or the Enclave? Potion of Visibility?
Yeah. A lot of money, probably.
That's pretty
And-
cool.
And so you have this hour-long walk completely by yourself in absolutely foreign territory. And if they catch you, you know that they will most likely kill you. What do you do?
An hour, you say?
Wait, if who catches you, they'll kill you.
The Enclave.
Because I'm guessing even if I'm not like they don't even know I'm part of the church. It's like anybody trespassing on like.
Oh yeah,
secret
the
lands,
the
essentially.
Enclave in general has a very no trespassers are welcome policy. they might let you go with like a very strong warning, but if they search you, if they find any evidence of who you are, especially in these very difficult times, you know they're definitely going to search you, a random person walking around the woods. And if they find any evidence that you belong to the church, it's you don't even know what's going to happen. But whatever it is, it won't be good.
When I get the Setting Stone message, can I coordinate with the village, or are they more worried about the scouts in the forest who we can't get word to? Because when I get the message from JR on the Setting Stone, I can respond to him and tell him that I'll let the guards know who he is, and then I can go to the guards and try to use my authority to be like, hey, expect this type of person to show up, and I'll describe what Domo looks like.
Sure. So yeah, you're
Can I do that?
you can absolutely go and speak to the guards here. Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely go and talk to the guards.
Sure. You go, and because of your rank, you don't even need to roll. You just tell them exactly what the situation is. They listen. They obey. And so, Domo, what do you do during this hour-long trek?
The Sending Stones don't have like a cool, like I can be in contact with him during this time.
No, it's just like you're casting the spell sending.
It's the Sending Stone. Yeah, Sending spell. So like you say something, then I say something back, and then it's a 24-hour cooldown. So when you said your message, I said to you, I will let the guards know who you are, and I'll send the word out.
Okay. I was actually gonna maybe cast Alter Self to become like a deer.
Can you do that?
Can
you do that with Alter Self?
I don't know. I guess a member
Alter
of
deer.
a race. You can't become an animal.
I think you can probably become like an elf, but you probably have to use polymorph to become a deer.
Yeah, I think that's more in the realm of polymorph or wild shape.
Yeah, because mine for alter self is like you can grow gills or something.
Well, it's aquatic adaptation or change appearance, and then one of the lines is you can't appear as a creature of a different size than you. Oh wait,
and your
I'm sorry.
Your basic,
yeah. I read the second.
So what you need to do is you need to get down on all fours and then you cast it.
Yeah. Okay. If you're bipedally, you can't use the spell to become quadrupedal.
Yeah,
that's a deer that walks upright.
It's more of a wild shape. Oh yeah, completely normal deer that walks on two legs.
Yeah,
it's very scary. That's how you run.
And talks and has gills.
What a strange animal.
All right. I'm yeah, all right. I'm gonna trust in Sif's power here, and I'm just gonna take a nice stroll through the forest.
Some dice. I rolled a natural 20. Okay. All right. So that's good. You wanted to roll high. Worst being a natural 1. Obviously that didn't happen. The best being a natural 20. And so on your journey goes by fairly quickly. You make it to the gates, and immediately 2 elven warriors come out from. Actually, no, there are no gates here. I'm sorry. You get to what looks like an area where the trees are very well separated. There's a lot of distance between them. You kind of look around. You're not really sure what's going on. Then when you look up, you can see there are all these lights up above you, sort of hidden, but you can see the glowing emanations hitting the underside of the very tops of these canopies. And then you realize that the city itself is completely elevated off the ground. And from behind some trees, with almost perfect quietness, these elven warriors come out with their bows drawn. And very quickly, another elf in Elven yells out, "Fools, lower your weapons. This is the one Winterstalker Sif mentioned." And they do so, they lower their weapons. and the ranger approaches you. He nods, and he says, "Please, come with me." He leads you to an elevator platform.
Thank you for the reception. I was worried on my journey over here, but I see Sif is highly respected among you, and I am glad of it.
He is Winter Stalker. It is our duty to listen to his rule. And they bring you onto this platform. The platform elevates up relatively slowly, very steadily, and you reach the top of a particular platform. And you are brought with a group of 4 warriors straight to a house. No detours, as short a path as possible, and you are not permitted to sort of wander on your own. They leave you at the front door, and the soldiers knock for you. Someone opens the door, and they explain the situation, and they allow Domo to enter the small forest top house here.
All right, Domo, come in.
Thanks for the welcome. It's good to see you all again.
How was your trip?
Interesting, to say the least. I think there is more going on here than any of us can know right now. I guess the party hasn't seen me since I left to go talk to the High Trident, right?
Yeah, it's been like
Yeah, I
3 or 4
died.
days.
Yeah, Kai died.
Kai died? And
But I'm back.
you're back?
It's a miracle, you know.
And, who
Yeah,
I
brought
see
you
why
back?
I see why you're into your whole church thing, you know.
It certainly has its uses.
I think we're all coming around on that. But yeah, we had an issue in the city. Kai was kidnapped, and we had to get her back. And then everything that happened. Let's just say Kai tragically lost her life. No one in particular will be blamed for that. We were able to, but for the small price of all the money in Kai's pocket, she was able to come back.
Who struck the killing blow? I will slay them where they stand.
And sometimes it's not necessary
I
to
don't
really
think
put
you want
blame.
to do that. We all look over to Zathir.
Yeah, we're not really making it that subtle.
It was an honest mistake.
Important thing is that she's here now.
Yes, I'm
200 gold
glad
later.
we're we're all back together.
And I'm broke. So don't be asking for any money.
Who is it that brought you back? Out of character, I did actually forget who you talked
Uh,
to.
Just some church, I think.
This god. Yeah, hold up.
Oh yeah.
My god Talos.
Talos is the greater deity of storms and destruction. They're also known as the Storm Lord.
Well, I am glad you have a god looking out for you somewhere. We all should. They do have their uses.
Absolutely.
So Domo, have you also heard about the cult of the Kraken being everywhere?
I have. I am not sure who to trust right now. I am playing it kind of close to the chest with everyone outside of you four. I am loyal to my god, but still uncertain as to the church's machinations. The Dread High Trident does seem to be worried about the cult as well. I do have some deal of faith in her right now. I'm not sure she's going about it in the right way, but I do believe her intentions to be good, at least from my point of view. The Order, on the other hand, is more of a question mark.
That kind of mirrors. That kind of mirrors what I found here. The Enclave also said that the Nature's Chosen is working with the cult, and when I showed her the shield we had before, this scrying shield, the shield of seeing or something, she recognized it as a threat in a way that I'd never seen her react to something before. So I also don't fully believe that they're on the side. It may be that the cult of the Kraken is just initiating this whatever's happening here and pitting these two sides against one another. Maybe and almost hopefully I'm saying that, but
and who is she? I know Attica, you said Sylvanas. Is she a god, or is
the leader of the Enclave is Lady Cindermoon. She's the current
Cindermoon.
avatar of Sylvanas.
But Sylvanas is a god?
Sylvanas is the god, yeah. Yeah, out of character, Sylvanas is like basically just the god of the forest, like the deep wild. It's actually a pretty cool god. I looked it up.
You seem to, with my ease of entry into the city, especially one such as myself, you seem to command a great deal of respect here. I think we should use that to our advantage. You know, the Dread High Trident trusts me a good deal now too, I believe. But with everybody pointing the finger at each other, I personally can't trust any of them.
Domo, you've been reckoned to have the task to I guess become an envoy to get them on our side. Is that correct?
The task that you're speaking of, the task that the Dread High Trident assigned me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I'll convey that message to Sif and say that I'll basically tell everybody the plan that the church has right now, that they think that the Nature's Chosen, are maybe the ones on the up and up, essentially, that they're not the ones that have been infiltrated by the Mind Flayers, but rather the Enclave has, and it just is more reinforcement that none of them can really be trusted to be not infiltrated right now. We don't have enough information to know who is good, essentially.
Now, wouldn't it be interesting if they both met up here, the Enclave and the Order, and we had a discussion before, the big fight? Well, we could let them know that there's a Mind Flayer right across the way.
I think all that would serve to do is betray our knowledge of some greater machination. I think the more we keep in the dark right now, the better. I don't want to take any sides with anyone who is untrustworthy right now.
I'll also add that, I'll do this as if. I'll also add that when I spoke to Lady Cindermoon and the rest of the council, I did let them know both about the Mind Flayer we killed and about the Mind Flayer that we found and left. The only reason I can tell that I was promoted the way I was that we managed to kill that first Mind Flayer. And the second Mind Flayer, the Enclave doesn't really care about at the moment because it's in a human settlement, and they said they can let them deal with that themselves. So the Enclave is currently focused here and knows about the other Mind Flayer, but doesn't seem to want to take any action at the moment.
I guess the only thing I can question is that you trust this to be, truthful worry about or non-worry about these things, rather than a test of your honesty with them. Maybe maybe they are unhappy with what you have done, but willing to overlook it for now to keep you in the dark about their true alignment.
To be honest, when I came here, I wasn't sure they wouldn't ask me to kill one of you. So I'm very happy with the outcome if they're letting me leave. I haven't had the best relationship with the Enclave for quite a long time. So them seeing me in a different light, whether it's due to my actions or what, I'm not taking it as a vote of confidence. But from what you're saying, it sounds like the Enclave is saying the Chosen are part of the cult, and the Church is saying that they're the opposite. So I do think the best course of action is to go there and really figure out what's going on. I also agree that if we bring the two sides together for some kind of parlay, I don't know what that will solve.
I'm worried we'll find only more questions when we arrive to speak with the Nature's Chosen, but I do think we need to do that separately from the influence of either of these groups.
Agreed. Because I don't know. I don't have the full story.
It's a bit sinister.
Not knowing who to trust?
And never mind. Let's forget I said anything about it.
Well, no. Go ahead.
Nah, it truly is. It's quite sinister. But as you know, I am, let's say, dealing with the dead is quite normal for me. With my skill, I could get the memories of whoever I kill.
Are you suggesting we kill one of these people
Ooh.
here?
Well, perhaps someone of higher standards. Someone that would have the answers.
I admire your bravery. That's certainly an extreme solution, but it could work. Who do you propose we kill?
Well, there's plenty of people we want to kill. Chimera's father. Perhaps.
That's gonna cause a whole lot of trouble if we try to do that now. I
Domo
think
also wasn't part of any of that, so she's like, "What?
Well,
Chimera's dad?"
there's no point in killing him anyway. We already know he's evil. It's one
Well,
of.
I think Chimera would want that honor herself.
I would, and I would also be the one to know best that now is not the time to murder someone in such a high seat. Like, we don't have the tools. I don't have the weapon I'm looking for. Domo doesn't have an army yet. I feel like
And
we
he
need to get those
trusts
things
you.
first.
Yeah.
He still trusts you, right? So that's a really
Yes.
powerful, like, quote unquote ally. Like,
Well,
Not just
besides,
him, the trackless king also trusts me. If we go and we just outright kill my father, it's like we're gonna be in like the campaign's gonna end out of character. The campaign's over. Like we're gonna get fucked.
besides
Yeah, I
that,
think, and the people that we know for sure probably have more information than we do are kind of out of our reach in a lot of ways, as far as killing them and taking their memories goes. We need to find somebody who is like weak, but also happen to know a lot. Just something to keep in the back of our minds.
right, and the leader of the group is way too conspicuous and quite loud, if you ask me.
Sathir, how about we kill your father? He seems to be involved pretty heavily, and he is susceptible to death right now, it seems.
My father.
Evil.
Eyes wide on that one.
I believed he was dead for centuries. And you speak of this like that?
I am only being
Shame on you,
practical.
Domo. I expect more from you from your high standards of spirit.
To be honest, it also might. Zathir, all emotions aside, it's also something that's accessible to us. Like, I'm pretty
And
sure if I asked my father or try to persuade him to let me kill him, he would be fine with that.
And he might be fucked beyond repair, so
It could be a
yeah,
mercy
no
killing. and-
offense. No
Yeah,
offense.
This
and
is not a topic of discussion. I've been spending decades trying to see if I could merely speak to them, my parents, for years. How dare you all even talk like this?
you
I'm
you
practical
just
myself, but in this particular topic, not acceptable. Zethir will walk away from the group.
Guess that might not have been what he meant by that suggestion.
I mean, he did suggest killing Chimera's dad.
Which is definitely something that I do want to do. But now I would need to find my weapon first. And I feel like we would need a lot more information before starting a riot like that.
I think it's best now to be safe as we can be, and just try to gain as much information as we can get. I don't know if this is the case, but it may be a good idea depending on how long we think this is going to go on for. Going to Candlekeep instead of the other forest? If there's
What's
information
the
to be
other
gained,
forest?
it's out of character. It's the one across from the Cloakwoods. It's where the Nature's Chosen is. It's like the Forest of 1,000 Knives or something like that. The Wood of Sharp Teeth.
And what's and we would only be going there just to speak with them, right?
Yeah, we can go to the Wood of the Sharp Teeth to try to get in contact with the Nature's Chosen, but Candlekeep is close. Though I do remember you saying something about spending like a week there.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Candlekeep is 1 day away,
Oh yeah.
but performing research will take at least.
So that would probably be the last thing we do.
Yeah, maybe if we can resolve what's happening here, we'd have a little bit of somewhat downtime to spend a week in Candlekeep. I don't know. I wouldn't mind going there just now and doing it, but I'm not sure if I don't know how long the situation is going to go on for. Like if they were sitting here for a month and doing something, we could do it. But if it's going to be resolved in like a couple of days, then we probably shouldn't.
You get the feeling that whatever is happening here is going to last a very long.
Very long time.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe we are actually better to go to Candlekeep and maybe try to get some more information.
Well, while everybody's having this conversation, I do want to walk over to Zathir and say that I apologize if what I said did hurt you emotionally, but I mistook it for a practical, maybe too much of a practical way forward. Your father seems to have knowledge of what is going on with the Trackless King, and from what I understand, he is in a state of unwell right now.
It's quite fine, Domo. I've thought about it myself, and anyone could fit the profile for my particular skill.
If you say it is out of the question, then it is out of the question.
Zethir will put his hand on Domo's shoulder. Oh, thank you. Uh, uh, Zethir says, please, just give me a few more moments.
Of course. Think nothing of it. We won't talk of it further. We will figure something else out.
Zethir will turn around and kind of just stare out into the open.
All right, so your group has seems like you've come up with a plan, which is to go south to Candlekeep.
How does that sound, everybody?
I guess like
That is my
John,
suggestion.
I'm wondering if going to Ramesses Tower will still be on the table if we go to Candlekeep first.
Yeah, it will be. Power's not going anywhere.
Okay, cool. Then yeah.
All right. So
can I get a refresher on what Candlekeep is?
Yeah, actually, I would like one too. For all I know about it is we can go there and we want to spend a week to research something.
So Candlekeep is famous for information on it. So Candlekeep is a famous library fortress. It's a bastion of enlightenment knowledge on the Sword Coast and has been for many centuries. It houses a massive and magnificent collection of books and scrolls of all the deepest sorts of lore imaginable. It is considered the greatest collection of the writings
Matt, can
in
you mute
all of
yourself?
Faerun. Yeah, I don't know if Matt is cooking or peeing.
He's hitting a bong.
Sorry, I was cleaning. Sorry.
It's considered the greatest collection of all the writings in all of Faerun, and it also houses a group of people called the Avowed, who are a group of renowned scholars and people of learning that revere the great, long since dead seer Alondo. And the reason you guys were going there is to perform research on things that you really could not really perform otherwise in any other library. The library here is so incredibly vast that it is bound to contain almost any bit of information for any question you could possibly imagine.
Who maintains it? Like, is it
a group of people called the Avowed? They're a group of scholars. And I know Chimera had a bunch of questions she wanted to do research on. I think Zethir had some questions he wanted to do research on. So,
Yeah, I had things I wanted to research.
so the group of you can go ahead and take a long rest. And because you're resting under these conditions, when you wake up, you can all gain an additional 1d8 temporary hit points. And we go to the Sword Coast. Wow, 2 8s.
nice?
Ooh.
Two.
Oh.
Womp womp.
Wait, how do I add that?
On your character sheet, there should be temporary hit points somewhere. Just put 8 in there. Pretty close to your hit points.
Perfect.
All right, so the group of you prepare yourselves. You can replenish. You're allowed to replenish your supplies if you so wish before heading on the 1 day long journey to the south towards Canada. You guys have any questions or things you wanted to do before you left Cloakwood? Okay. So why don't we take a 5-minute break? We'll come back at 9 p.m.
Cool.
Um,
All right. Let's do another ready check. We got Devin.
Present.
We got Nina. We got Matt. Waiting on Bianca, and I know JR is on a phone call. All right, we got everybody. Okay. So just a quick reminder, on the 7th day, your ships, the Voyage and Ocean Splendor, arrive at Luskan.
Nice.
So, unless you communicate with them, you won't know what's going on over there. But I believe on the 19th, 12 days from now, those ships will return to Waterdeep.
You said they're going to return automatically in 12 days.
Yes.
It's probably going to be the case that not everybody in Candlekeep is going to want to do a week's worth of research, and we do have our Woodery friend, so maybe we can like plane shift around. And
Well,
actually, no, he's never been there. We can't do that.
He's back at Baldur's Gate too, and he can only
the
plane
genie?
shift. Yep. He stayed
right,
with
the ship.
He stayed with the ship.
Forgot. Okay.
But the group of you begins heading south on your day-long journey. We'll roll some dice. Okay.
Wait, do we want to go back to Baldur's Gate and get the ship first, and like go use that to get this Candlekeep? Actually, this is fine. What do you guys think?
It'll take you 2 days to go back to Baldur's Gate, and then a ship. You move 6. So 1, 2, 6, 8. So it'll take you another 2 days to get to Candlekeep with the ship.
And how long would it be to walk to Candlekeep? Just 2 days?
1 day.
Okay.
So
What do
the
you guys
group,
think? Do we want to get that ship or not?
We're already down here. We might as well just go.
Yeah, I agree.
group of you heading along the coastway eventually diverge off of the main path, which is called the path here, and you begin traveling down a long, very well-kept road. Road called the Way of the Lion. And during your travels here, you can see there are wagons going to and away from this road, either heading further north towards the Cloakwood and Baldur's Gate beyond, or even heading further south down towards Cloud Peaks, and who knows where else they're going to be heading towards. There are some other outlying villages that you can see, or you at the very least see signage for. You know that to the east of you, there's a village called Baragost. Actually, it's sort of a small city that a lot of people who aren't necessarily permitted into Candlekeep spend the majority of their time. But you know where your destination is, and so you turn onto this Way of the Lion and begin heading towards the coast. And sure enough, in the distance, you see the massive library fortress of Candlekeep. Its glittering tall spires, these giant eagles flying above the tallest parapets within the hallowed walls of this institution. And it feels like a much longer walk than it actually is because of just how massive the structures surrounding Candlekeep are. It is very well fortified. But eventually, towards the end of the day, you make it to Candlekeep. Several hours before nighttime truly rolls. And as you begin to approach the gates are just now closing for a large wagon heaped with all kinds of strange smelling herbs and spices. It's a very large, colorful wagon, and it begins moving past your group. And that's when one of the guards calls down from a small portcullis window, and he yells down at you, "You strangers! Is this your first time in Candlekeep?"
I respond, yes.
Then you must know that in order to gain entry, we require some kind of donation to our great library. A tome that we do not yet own within our collection. Do you bear such a tome?
I dig into my bag and pull out the book that my father gave me and hold it up to the guard and say, yes, I do own such a tome.
He pulls out a large spyglass and looks down at you. You can kind of see his eyeball and Lars at the very end of the spyglass. He's looking down. It's quite ancient, and of elven manufacture. This should suffice. He then lowers a bucket down a very rickety-looking pulley system. He says, "Place the tome within the bucket, please."
I do so.
He then begins raising the bucket back up in a very hurried pace. You can hear the squeaking of the pulleys as they go. He grabs the tome out of it. He says, yes, this will make a fine donation indeed. You may have entry. Open the gates, he yells, and the two doors begin swinging open for the group of you. And your group is permitted to enter.
Nice. What an arrogant looking city this is.
Out of character, I can imagine like everybody in here has like librarian energy. Like they're just shushing one another. It's
Everyone,
very Singapore. Mm-hmm.
the volume of the shushes makes more shushes happen.
Or is the
Yeah.
library at Hogwarts where books are like flying around?
Imagine a lot of librarians like
Candles
rushing
are
around with books in their
floating.
hands and holding their hats down as they run around.
So your group is permitted entry, and the very first thing that you notice as the doors open is the sound of chanting. They're all chanting in common, but some of you might not be aware of exactly where these chants are coming from, or I should say, what the meaning of these chants are, the history of them. If any of you are interested, you can go ahead and give me a history check. But the chants themselves are very rhythmic, and each one ends with the same phrase. So saith the wise Alondo. And they're broken up into these odd stanzas where one person will chant, and then everyone who is taking part in this chanting will all chant together. So saith the wise Alondo. And the first one that you hear is, white bird shall vanish from the north, and great evil shall die and be reborn. So saith the wise Alondo.
Alondo.
Chimera, you know these to be the people who chant these are called the Court of Air. And just one second. They are reciting something called the Endless Chant, or the Echoes of Alondo. Your character has probably read books about this figure over your many years. Your father's library definitely contained tomes and the various chants but he was considered to be a prophet. And no one's quite sure if his prophecies were true in any capacity, but a lot of people put weight into them, even if it doesn't necessarily manifest. A lot of the prophecies are also kind of vague, and vague enough to be interpreted in many different ways. So it's kind of hard to say if anything makes sense, but you do know that this court of Air is very prominent here, and they have made Candlekeep their home for many generations. Their chants can be heard all throughout the entirety of Candlekeep. And it does actually lend itself to keeping a sort of a quiet atmosphere, despite the sound of the constant chanting. People keep to themselves, they keep relatively quiet. They study, and they hear these constant chants coming through, and will say that it makes it easier for them to concentrate. Hear another one as your group is led into the interior of Candlekeep. The worm shall wander the earth, and such a pestilence will follow in his wake that all that know of his passing shall be struck down by the plague. So saith the wise Alondo. The gates behind you close shut. You are permitted entry into this large open area, which you can see has some basic amenities, things like stables, things like a collection of areas known as necessariums, which are areas that people can bring books. They can't leave the city with the book. They're allowed to bring a book here to study to their heart's content and enjoy the view of the ocean. Some other locations like an inn, two inns actually, one called the House of Rest, which is simply a place for lodging, and then the Hearth, which is like a large tavern, and other locations throughout. What do the group of you do?
So, I have quite the list here. My question to you all is, how long can we stay here?
Depends on what you got in mind, I guess. How long would you like to stay?
Why don't I go speak to a librarian real quick, and sit there and tries to look for like the research desk or help desk.
Well, you would have to go to the Great Library, and so because you are permitted entry into this location, you're permitted free reign to wander where you please, except for any place where doors are locked. So you begin heading into the Candlekeep proper, the more populated city area. And in this location, there are way more people. Scholars and students of all kinds and ages are moving back and forth at a rapid pace. Some trying to hurry to their next class, some trying to hurry to get this one particular book before somebody else gets it. And you can see off in the distance a large building that you presume to be the Great Library. It's the biggest building in all of Candlekeep.
Zephyr, what are you looking to figure out? You seem like you're in a bit of a hurry.
Well, time is definitely of the essence. Zethir scratches his shoulders.
I see.
And there's lots of research to be found. Depending on how long it be, I'm not sure if I get one or two topics on my list.
Okay.
What say you? Are you have anything you want to research here?
Definitely.
And the rest of you as well.
Mind. I forgot that you were on a ticking clock, as so to speak. Yes, I think we should hurry, or at least walk.
All right. So what we'll be using are the 5th edition research rules. I've listed them before in our chat. Basically, the way they work is your character spends a week doing research. During that week, because you're already in Candlekeep, you don't have to pay the 50 gold piece requirement to do it, but you can choose to pay money to increase your roll. This roll is not based off of any skills, it's not based off of any stats, it is a flat d20 roll. Every bonus that you give yourself, either by being assisted in your particular research or by paying additional money or even spending additional time, will increase that roll by one. One depending on how many people are assisting you, one depending on how many extra weeks you're spending doing research, and one depending on how many extra 50 gold piece units you would like to pay towards conducting your research. Because you're also in Candlekeep, the greatest library known to man, you have advantage on the roll. And at the end of that week, you perform this roll. I consult a chart. Depending on what you get, you can either get an answer to one question, an answer to two questions, an answer to three questions, potentially more, or potentially zero if you fail the roll. During this time, if there are things that other people wish to do without going out on like an adventure of their own, they can also perform downtime activities such as carousing, crafting an item, some crime, gambling. Probably couldn't find pit fighting here, but who knows? Maybe if you roll well enough, you do. You could just relax. Relaxation gives you a little bit of a bonus. Religious services, scribing scrolls, selling magic items, training, and work.
A lot of things. That's like everything.
Oh, that's cool. So you can actually upgrade other skills here.
Yes, with training, I'm not sure if you can do it in a week, but I believe with training, with training you have to spend at least 10 weeks and you could learn a new skill. Learn a language or pick up a proficiency with a tool.
In how many weeks?
10 weeks.
Wow.
Pause the campaign, everybody. We're gonna learn new skills.
Yeah. I had to go learn Dwarvish. I think before we do anything, we should get a bite to eat and figure out what everybody wants to do this week. If we're planning on spending a week here.
I like that idea. Head to the tavern.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, cool. The group of you head to the tavern. Hearth, specifically. Pull up the information on that. It's the Keep's Grand Eating Hall. It allows its guests to mingle at whatever volume they so please. This was not always the rule, but it has become in recent times. It contains shrines to Denir, Gond, and Melil, three minor gods of knowledge, bookkeeping, and writing. It's a warm and cozy establishment. It's the successor of the former Candlekeep Inn, which burned down nearly 2 decades ago. You guys are here at this inn. One of the nice things about the inn here is that you are granted entry, and because you are granted entry by paying your way in, food and rest at the hearth and at the House of Rest are free of charge.
Oh my god, it's like a spa.
Spa for
Pretty
learning.
interesting.
Nice little getaway.
Oh, I'm totally down for the
Let's
spa.
just
I'm gonna
stay
put
here
a-
forever.
Put a robe on, my slippers on. Check my shoes at the door.
They do have other stores, which I've offered at the bottom here, so if you do need to purchase anything, you can still purchase that at cost, of course, but those particular services are free of charge.
At some point, I definitely want to find. I was gifted. The Enclave gave me some very nice plate mail. So I have this other armor now that I would like to sell. So at some point, I'll figure out some time to sell this splint armor. Not that, the other one. So what's everybody thinking for what they want to do? Pit fighting sounded cool to me, maybe.
so many interesting things to see here. But I'm quite interested in researching the manuscript that I found. I want to know if there's any more folklore on the powers of the manuscript itself.
This place seems full of books, so if there's anywhere, this seems to be the place. I never heard of a city taking a book as payment or entry fee. Would you like help? I'm not sure what I could do, but if you have an idea, I would not mind helping.
Two heads are better than one, I'd say. Of course.
All right, so Sif, you're gonna help Sathir with his research.
Will that take me the whole week?
Helping him, yes, would take the whole week.
And what would he get out of that?
He gets a +1 to his roll.
How about yourself, Chimera?
I'm going to do research to find the weapon that I'm looking for. And then I'm also trying to figure out the location and information about the Tomb of Jurgle.
Okay. So Chimera, so you're going to perform your own research, or are you going to assist Sathir? Because at the end, depending on how many pieces of lore you get, you can choose to ask that many questions. You can
Yeah,
get
I
up
guess
to.
I'll help.
I will say you can only get up to 3 pieces of lore answered, and that's if you roll a 21 or higher. An 11 to 20 gives you 2 pieces. A 6 to 10 gives you 1 piece.
If I roll by myself,
If you roll by
those
yourself,
rules apply.
those rolls apply, yeah. So you could potentially double the amount of lore that you get.
I'll probably do mine separately then.
Okay. You're doing your own research.
I think I would also like to do my own research.
Okay, you do your own research as well. How about Kai?
Unless somebody really wants assistance with their research, Kai is more interested in just making a quick buck and relaxing.
Okay, so you're going to
I
do a
don't
little
think
bit of.
there's much that she wants to research.
You're going to
Specifically.
do a little bit of work.
Yeah, like
Cool.
work at a bar or something.
Yeah, I can pick up some odd jobs during the week. How about Domo? You're going to help whoever? Oh, you're helping. Let's see. Want to help Zephyr, Chimera, or Sith?
Not me.
I'll say 1, 2, 3. You're helping. Oh, Chimera. All right, cool. So,
Is it possible for me to try and persuade a scholar that's here in Candlekeep for assistance as well?
so that's where the extra money comes into play. Every 50 gold pieces you spend, you get an additional +1 to your roll.
Okay. I will do that.
All right, so you're going to spend an extra 50 gold pieces?
Yes.
All right, you got it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do...
Oh wait, never mind. I don't have 50 gold pieces.
You don't?
I forgot I'm broke.
No worries.
Never mind.
I'll give you 50 gold pieces. I'm about to sell this armor that the group bought for me, so I'm not sure how much splint armor is worth. It's worth 200 gold.
You can get 100.
Can I perhaps give it to somebody who's more charismatic than me? Then maybe they can. Chimera here.
Give it to me. I'll turn your money into double.
Give me back half of whatever you get for it.
Sure. So then you can go ahead and give me a persuasion test. The DC 15.
Me or Kai?
Kai.
Okay.
Oh, wait, what am I giving you? Sorry.
A persuasion test.
test.
DC 15. You got a nat 20.
Nice.
Holy shit.
Okay. They are
Very
willing.
nice.
They're willing to give you 150 gold pieces for it.
You're like, I came back to life, and this was sitting on my chest. The god gave it to me.
So
150 for what?
for the
She got
armor
150.
Seth was selling, that you were helping him sell.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
We can distribute that, I guess, over everybody. Because it was the group that bought it, so cash infusion to everybody.
It's 5 of you, so that's 100. That's 30 gold pieces each. Everybody can add 30 gold pieces to their inventory, and Sif, you can delete that armor from your inventory.
Wow. Thank you.
Kai smiles at having money in her hands again.
This sounds nice, right? When jingles together.
And okay, so the group of you begin hitting the books, and so doing research doesn't necessarily mean just sitting in a library reading books. You have the whole city at your disposal here. You're looking up books. You're looking up scholars. You're speaking to researchers. You're looking at old manuscripts, trying to find old dusty maps and things that can serve you in some way during this time. And it's going to take you a whole week, but during this week you get a lot done, potentially, or potentially with some outcome. There's 3 of you working, so the 3 of you are going to have to roll first a D100. Want to roll high. You have a 10% chance of having a complication.
D100?
D100. Each one of you that is performing research. So not the assistants, just the people doing the research. All right, so there's a fear. Okay, cool. None of you have any complications. Excellent. Great. Meanwhile, Kai, your friends are off in the town. They're talking to people. They're doing all sorts of things. You pick up an odd job. What kind of work do you pick up?
I feel like bartending or something.
Okay,
So
cool.
then I could talk to locals, see what, this town's about, what they've been hearing, if anything.
All right. That sounds good to me. Just give me 1 second. Let's see. Why don't you go ahead and give me just a flat charisma test. Actually, no. Before you roll that, first roll a D100. You have a 10% chance of a complication. Okay. So you're totally fine as well. No complications during the long week of work that you're doing. So now go ahead and give me a charisma test. 22.
Nice.
All right. So with a 22, you get 25 gold pieces for your work. You perform an excellent job, make excellent
Nice.
tips. As a bartender, you're permitted to come back if you wish. And so you get a pretty nice, pretty 25 gold pieces is a pretty substantial amount of money in this world.
Yeah, for a week's work. That's
Yeah.
not bad. I'm rich again, guys. I bet is Chimera, is she like keeping tabs on me now every time I get money? She's like
Now we're all secretly tracking everybody.
She's like, I know you got 55 gold pieces now.
My real power is finance.
All right. And so the rest of you, and mind you, during this time, you're not necessarily separated. You know, you're talking to each other, you're sharing information. You're all,
Yeah, come to the bar for a drink. Like, keep me updated.
yeah, you're all meeting
to go
back
to
up at the
relax after.
bar, at the hearth, setting up cute little study dates. It's really nice. And at the end of this week, I'll move you guys forward. Also, weeks are 10 days. I should have mentioned that. But you guys spend your whole week doing your research. Now I need let's start with Sif. Go ahead and roll a d20 of just a flat d20 roll with advantage.
Okay. Oof. Roll 2 4s.
Oh.
Wait, can I use inspiration?
Yes, you can.
Nice. That's better.
Okay. That's really good because a 4 would have gotten you nothing.
Bomber.
So with a 20, you get 2 pieces of lore. What would you like to learn about?
When you say pieces of lore, do you just mean questions I can ask?
Each piece of lore is the equivalent of one true statement about a person, place, or thing. Examples include knowledge of a creature's resistances, the password needed to enter a sealed dungeon, spells commonly prepared by an order of wizards, etc. I am the final arbiter of what information I can reveal to you. For monsters or NPCs, I can reveal elements of statistics or personality. For locations, I can reveal secrets, such as hidden entrances, answers to riddles, natures of creatures, etc.
Okay. Sif is going to add, like, the question Sif has been researching is essentially, how does one communicate with a god? And if I can be more specific, it's essentially, how do I talk to Sylvanas?
Okay. So you learn a little bit about Sylvanas during all this. Sylvanas is a god that you have sort of like been inundated with your entire life. The Enclave worships both Myliki and Sylvanas and Corellin the Rythian. They sort of form this trifecta of elven nature gods. Sylvanas being sort of grandest amongst all of them. And something that you learn is that Sylvanas is actually broken into 2 separate avatars. One of the few gods that has more than one singular avatar. Their primary form, their primary avatar, I should say, is Cindermoon Heartember. She speaks for Sylvanas on almost all matters on the Sword Coast. There is another avatar of Sylvanas, though, a younger avatar. They're always sort of broken up into this old-young dichotomy. This younger avatar lives, and I'm going to go to the Sword Coast map, in solitude in the Lyrath Forest. And you learn that in order for you, that a good way for you to be able to speak directly to Sylvanas, especially if you don't want to go through Cindermoon Heartember or another avatar, is to go through this other avatar, who is in some ways at odds with Cindermoon for a variety of political reasons that I won't really go into.
Do I catch a name?
Change this.
That's juicy.
1 second. Honest. Oop. One second. Hanali Selenil.
Oh my god, can you copy that? Paste it? Anali Selenil. Interesting. Okay. And I get a second question, right?
Yes, you do. Oh, you know what? Let's come back to you.
Okay.
We'll give everybody. We'll do like a round robin.
Give me time to think too.
Um, So next up, let's go to Chimera. You were performing research. You can go ahead and make a d20 roll with +1 for being assisted by Domo, and an additional +1. And you can roll this with advantage.
Oh, cool. How do I roll with advantage with the... Oh, advantage. There we go. Okay. And then... Oh, nice. The little button. That's so cute. I'm like playing with the little dice buttons like on the chat window.
It's
I'm
very
so
intuitive.
I'm so entertained. Like,
My hobby is UX.
Oh, did I not bring us to?
oh, the voyage.
So you got a 14. With a 14, you get. You get 2 pieces of lore.
Cool.
So what is your first question?
My first question, I guess, would be, where's the Tomb of Jurgle?
Tomb of Jurgle. You. So you learn about this place, the Tomb of Jurgle, the last known burial place of Jurgle before he was killed by Baal, god of murder. You know that the exact location of the Tomb of Jurgle is hidden beneath Dragonspear Castle. However, the location is blocked by a impenetrable gate. Magicians have tried teleporting through it. They have tried digging underneath it, tried blasting the doors apart, to no avail. However, in your research, you do manage to learn the location as well. I'll say this is the same piece of lore of the key, password perhaps, which is hidden inside the Warlock's.
Wait, the key is hiding inside the Warlock's crypt?
Yes. So key
I-
to
Huh. Okay.
here. And Zathir, go ahead and roll a d20 with advantage. got an 11. That gives you 2 pieces of lore. What is your first question?
First question is, I'm basically interested in the Curse of the Manuscript. So I'm interested in just knowing like what lore has there been in terms of how it works, or are there more like greater powers, and how like any like history behind it of like people like suffering the curse.
So you learn that there are, throughout history, there are other people who have suffered the same curse that you have. They collectively have come to be known as doom wraiths, and they utilize their powers for a time of their own volition, but eventually they all succumb to the same fate, which is becoming sort of mindless undead servants to whoever is controlling them. In your case, it is the not necessarily Osiris himself, but absolutely his avatar, Ashira, who is the person that the large warrior that you encountered earlier that tried to take you away. They were trying to bring you to Ashira. You learn about Ashira's location, and you learn that it is basically hopelessly far. It is far away from the Sword Coast in the deepest deserts of Kalimshan, way, way, way to the south. It would take you months, if not years, to journey there on foot. It's completely impossible to get to by sea. But you do learn the location, and you learn a little bit more about the nature of it. You will potentially get more powers and abilities, but as you gain more power, you lose more of your humanity. Until eventually you just become fully undead. And in terms of removing it, there are a couple of different ways you can remove it. The primary one would be to kill the person who controls it. In this case, Shira. Easier said than done, but not impossible. You learn a number of her weaknesses, including I have to do a little bit of research on that, but I'll come back to you on that. But yes, you learn that that is the primary way to do it. Another way is for an incredibly powerful spellcaster, someone of immense power, to wish the curse away from you. And not the standard limited wish like you would get from a genie, but a full-on wish. And you that's all you learn. So moving back to Sif, what is your second question?
What is my second question? If anybody else wants to go first, I'll let them go first. I'm still kind of thinking about this.
Sure, Chimera, you want to go?
Yes, I want to learn about where the scepter is that I'm looking for.
Scepter is located. Just 1 second. Just bear with me for a moment. Okay. So you learn that the reason why Baal ultimately killed Jurgle was because Baal discovered the creation of this, or I'm sorry, Jurgle. I'm sorry, yes. Baal discovered that Jurgle was working on this masterwork weapon, a weapon that would be able to destroy other gods who would seek to minimize Jurgle's rise to power. Jurgle hid the weapon away, and Baal managed to kill him before he was able to go back and retrieve it. The location of this weapon is the Iron Key in the center of Oman's Isle. In order to get access to what was the name of the weapon again? Deicide.
Yes.
In order to gain access to the keep itself, you would need to collect something from the tomb of Jurgle that would give you entry to it. So it seems that your path will take you from the Warlock's Crypt to the Dragonspear Castle, and then finally all the way to Iron Key.
Cool.
Zathir, do you have your second question ready?
Yeah. I would like to know if there's any other alternative way to fix the Cube of Force.
There is. You learn that Hakmaraz had trained and taught many people his various machinations over the years, although none ever got to a particular high enough level that he felt comfortable teaching them the secrets of the three primary powerful items that he brought to bear. You do find a list of a couple of people, but it seems like most of them have died. Ramazith is one of them who's missing. A familiar name does appear on that list. The name of your father. Prior to amassing his fortune, considered himself a bit of an artificer in trade. Sif, you have your second question.
Yes, more or less. I want to ask overall about Zelig 4. I think that was the name of the Mind Flayer, either the group or like the brain they're following. I want to try to get to know as much about Zelig 4 so I can try to figure out what they want.
You will
I wanna
not
look up
find
that.
any information on Zelik's
Did I waste my question?
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, you said it won't work.
Yes.
But can I ask a different question, or did I
Yeah,
try and
no,
fail?
absolutely.
Oh,
You
okay,
could
okay.
ask a different question. I'm not going to make you waste
Sorry.
your week.
Okay, I'll ask about trying to find a potential link between the Nature's Chosen and the Cult of the Kraken. I don't know how much. This is the biggest fucking library ever, so I'm sure they have some information about it. But I'm trying to look at those two and see if there's any kind of link between them.
You
I want to
find
confirm what I was told.
in your week of research, you find no link between the two. You find almost no mention of the Cult of the Kraken at all. You hear small bits of information here and there.
Really? I find nothing at all about the Cult of the Kraken, or very, very little.
Very, very little. I'll let you
I'm
ask
curious.
one more follow-up question that has to do with the Cult of the Kraken.
Yeah, and because of how much information I've found about things, and as you said, we've been kind of studying and looking this up together, so we've been talking about it. In this place where there's so much information, finding nothing at all about the Cult of the Kraken seems very suspicious. So I will turn my attention solely to the Cult of the Kraken and see if I can. I'm not sure even how to phrase this. I want to try to figure out if they've been like expunged from the record. Like if there are mentions of things that should be related to them, but they're somehow not involved in it.
That is a fair assumption.
Okay, so I get the sense that they've been expunged. Very cool. Very not great, but at least informative in its own way.
So at the end of that week, your group concludes all of your various forms of research, and you have the information that you have received. And Kai's purse is a little bit heavier.
Does Kai hear anything from the locals about anything that's going on, like with the cult of the Kraken or mind flayers or the weird creatures coming in here?
The people here are far too erudite for their own good, and so the only things, if anything, you find the people here to be somewhat annoying and like
Right,
annoying.
like they're too stuffy.
Yeah, like their heads are in the clouds. They're like the deepest form of academics you could possibly imagine. So you hear a lot of debating, you hear a lot of conversation about various forms of history and magic. You don't really get a lot to do with anything in modern times. You get a sense that the walls keep out both not only the unwanted, but also the real world.
Okay.
But during that time, you do manage to catch a bunch of the various chants. You hear one, the stag who was lost will again return and bestow his blessing upon a brave champion. So saith the wise Alondo.
Alondo.
You hear several more. I'll put all of them in text, but I'll say two of them aloud. The weapon of kings will fall into the hands of mortals. The choice to use it will cause death unknown to this world. So saith the wise Alondo. And then the final one.
Alondo.
Alondo.
Final one you hear is the ocean will spew forth, and from its depths will form a blooded peacemaker. So saith the wise Alondo.
Alondo.
And
I'll become
you
a
hear,
warlock and Alana's my patron.
So saith Alondo.
So saith. Oh, nice.
While Sif is researching, like, could I go up to him and say, if you find nothing in your research, I could ask for you and try to get information, if that helps.
Well, in everything I've been finding, I've been trying to find a link between the Nature's Chosen and the Cult of the Kraken, but to be honest, I can't find nearly anything about the cult. Like, it's almost strange. It's like it's been ripped out of history.
I wouldn't be surprised with how big it is that it doesn't have much of a presence in writing, and if it did, that it would get wiped clean in some way.
Yeah, in a
Sith,
place like, good.
do me a favor. Give me an intelligence test, DC 10.
Okay. Bad at this. This is an ability check.
Yep.
4.
I'll let you reroll it if you have a point of inspiration.
You only ever get 1. I use it for the roll about Sylvanas. Unless you want to give me one, I'll use it.
I'll give you one.
Yay! I rolled 3 this time.
Yippee!
12.
In your research, you don't find anything at all, basically, about the Cult of the Kraken. You find very tiny little snippets. You see like there's like volumes that are just missing from sets of volumes. And you're like, well, they don't allow books to go missing.
Oh, so it's to that extent.
It's like stuff has actually been expunged. You do find a couple of little things that point you in like a particular direction, and you basically like, all right, like there's there's a couple of different researchers or investigators who have put stuff into books, and the details of their research and investigations aren't here, but you did find that a lot of them had mentioned a particular name of a particular location. And that name is the Purple Rocks.
How those fuckers.
The Purple Rocks. Where's that on the map? Wait, is it on the map?
I thought you said the purple coats.
I don't, like you said those fuck. Every mention of purple sets Kai off. Those people on the boat. The Purple Rocks. Is this really the wreck of the Golden Crown, or you just copy a token?
I just copied it.
Okay. Okay. So I find what I believe is going to be references to the Cult of the Kraken, but only via references to this location, essentially. All other direct mentions of them have been wiped from the history books.
Yeah, you find a couple of different sources. In those sources, you see that they mention a particular location. None of their research comes to fruition, or at the very least, you don't have access to it. So you don't know what became of it, but this is one commonality between all of them.
Chimera, have you ever heard of the Purple Rocks? It seems to be just up against whatever void these things have made in these books. Like all the information that's been erased, the closest thing to it in a couple cases has been this location.
Chimera will scratch her head for a second and think back. I believe I have. I'm
What do you
reading a
remember?
thing. I'm reading a thing real quick. Sorry.
I believe I have somewhere in this text document. This research has like added so many places to go. This map is like a Christmas tree.
I lie. I have not. It's something else that's purple. I'm a fibber. I have not heard about the Purple Rocks. But I do know of an area near the Cloakwood Forest that might be of interest.
What do you mean?
It's where my father took me to get indoctrinated into the Kraken Society. And
The place
it's
that Doma was
pretty,
talking about.
it's pretty close. Yeah. I know where that is.
Actually, I don't know if Domo even said that to us.
Domo did not say anything.
Okay,
If Domo
forget
did,
what I
I would
said
have
there.
jumped in.
By the Cloakwood.
Yeah, there's like a cave between Candlekeep and the Cloakwood. I remember it vaguely, but I haven't been there since the ritual.
It's a Cult of the Kraken stronghold, not stronghold, but important area in the Cloakwood. If it's near the Cloakwood, the Enclave would definitely know about it.
Perhaps it would be a good idea to ask my father at some point what the ties may be between the Enclave and this cave. Because they would have to know about it.
I mean, even growing up, having grown up in the woods, I'm pretty stealthy and able to get around quickly, but I've never been. When I was young, I was no match for the upper level Enclave warriors. They'd know where I was going. They knew I was going to Baldur's Gate. They must have known about you. Must have known that we at least knew each other.
I was getting faces while we were in the Cloakwood earlier today, but I didn't want to stir the pot.
I never thought about that, but if the Cult of the Kraken is using the Cloakwood along with the Enclaves say so, I can't imagine that they would let that go on within the bounds of the forest, the area they have the most control over, without knowing about it and kind of co-signing it. That's a bit troubling. It does let me lean more towards the Nature's Chosen as potentially being in the right here. I'll say this now just to make sure there's no confusion about it. My loyalty, if anything, is to my family, my tribe, and the forest. My forest. I have a fondness for the Enclave, but they're not in control. The forest is in control. And if they're doing something against the forest's will, then I'm against them. If they're letting whatever's happening happen to you, that was made. You said your father made this happen to you. He didn't want this so much. If this is going on within the Cloakwood, then that's even more reason that they need to be put to a stop. I don't like the puzzle we're etching out here. This picture's not very pleasant.
I agree. Chimera reflects back a little bit on the blur of like a memory that she had as a child when she was sworn in, and I guess like Sif could see that like she's deeply disturbed by what could be in that cave when she returns.
Sif will see that she's having known Chimera for a while, see that it's a bit affecting her, and will kind of put a hand on her shoulder. Say, thank you for telling me this. I know this is not a pleasant memory for you. We hardly ever talked about you when you were younger. There's a lot
She
we've left to do.
she smiles and says, "Well, when we go back, I won't be alone."
Come back. We'll turn back to the tavern. We'll drink to that.
Mm-hmm.
All of us.
Okay. Why don't we call it there? A lot of information.
God, my head hurts.
Got a lot of
Lots
places
traveling.
to look forward to traveling to.
There's like so many places to go now.
And once you guys get back to Baldur's Gate, you can start sailing around again. All right, let me end the recording there.